Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 414 based on novel. So let's start. The human race terrified Dream Demon Ancestor and the 12 Universe Masters. The humans were extremely powerful. Pengong Master, Darkness Master, all the other Universe Masters, and Milky Way Horde leader Luo Feng. They made attacks one after another. Dream Demon Ancestor thought that Pengong Master and Darkness Master were the most difficult ones to deal with, and she expected Luo Feng to be incredible after receiving the inheritance. Yet she also thought that Luo Feng needed to train himself step by step even after receiving the inheritance. However, when she was diving and saw Luo Feng draw Blood Shadow Blade, she realized she couldn't have been more wrong. Darkness, Pengong, and Luo Feng. Out of the three, the most terrifying one wasn't the first two, but Luo Feng. Luo Feng. Dream Demon Ancestor lashed her snake tail and neutralized the shock wave she had just endured. She tried to rush forward. However, Luo Feng's blade was already drawn. This blade was the most important weapon of Du and Dawn River inheritance, the embryo, and it could reach the maximum power with the inheritor. Even without using any godly power, the blade itself was already at top-tier 5th level. Its power wasn't known to Universe Ocean, and this was the first time it was utilized. Nirvana Incarnation, whispered Luo Feng. When the blade was drawn, it gleamed brighter and brighter. The light was only dimming when it was first pulled out, and when it hit the Universe Masters, traces of light concentrated and formed a giant black oval. The oval was like a miniature universe, covering the 12 Universe Masters from the demon race. Inside the black oval, the 12 Universe Masters were trapped in the terrific light. No. No. Let's stop, then we can go back to the original universe. However, the blade moved too fast. The Universe Masters who feared the blade had naive thoughts in their heads. The blade's light in the black oval immediately changed in a mystical way. It transformed into a streak of seemingly ordinary, thin light. The black oval cracked, and the light disappeared after shining for just an instant. It was as if a thin blade had slashed the universe. The black oval turned hollow. All that was left was the dimming golden light, which left a visible trace in the space in the dark universe. It remained there for a long time. No. The Universe Masters from the demon race roared in agony. They all looked furious and horrified, glaring at Luo Feng in the distance. They couldn't believe what had just happened. The great beings outside couldn't see it, but they were all trapped in the black oval, so they all knew how horrifying that was. The blade first hit Forbidden Master, who was the most powerful, annihilating more than 20% of his godly body. And then it slashed the weaker Jew-Bug Master. His top-tier true treasure armor cracked, and he died instantly. It then touched Sky Wolf Master, and the others, one by one. One attack killed one Universe Master, severely injured 3 Universe Masters, and mildly injured the others. If he attacks us several times again, more than half of us will die. Even the Supreme True Treasure Godly Rod from Pengong isn't that powerful. Too sharp. I can feel that blade slashing me, and the force penetrated my true treasure armor, taking 16% of my godly body. Unbelievable. That blade light was too dense and sharp. Even the armor can't dissipate it. They all felt terrified. Normally, a true treasure armor could distribute the shock wave to the entire body. However, the attack from Luo Feng concentrated all the power at the tip, and it was dense. The blade technique was created by Luo Feng, and using Blood Shadow Blade to perform it made it all the more forceful. Original Universe. Go back to the original universe. Quick! The Universe Masters from the demon race all stopped. Do you really think you can run away? Luo Feng stopped abruptly. All of them disappeared. Pengong Master, Darkness Master, and the other Masters all stopped. As for Dream Demon Ancestor, she immediately followed Luo Feng and stopped. The team of the demon race and the team of the human race all showed up in the sky at the same time. Golden Country and the endless white sands were floating, spreading across the sky. Luo Feng was its master. Go! Demon Ancestor! Demon Ancestor! The Universe Masters were all upset. If they hadn't been affected, they would have been able to defend themselves against Luo Feng. However, they couldn't defend themselves when being besieged by all the 16 Universe Masters within the human race, especially under the domain and being suddenly attacked. One of the Universe Masters died, and all of them were injured either severely or mildly. They couldn't fight Luo Feng anymore under the binding. Luo Feng. Dream Demon Ancestor roared in the distance. Luo Feng took a look, and he slashed with Blood Shadow Blade again. Dream Demon Ancestor was blasted away in the dark universe. Perhaps it wasn't far from the universe masters from the demon race in the dark universe. In the original universe, it was tens of millions of times farther. Even with Dream Demon Ancestor's speed, it took her a long while. However, Luo Feng was close to the universe masters of the demon race all the time. Other universe masters of his team, like Darkness Master, were also close to each other. Those universe masters had been attacking the demon race in the dark universe. Darkness Master was only controlling Black Prison Tower, and he was with Huang Jian Master and Qingdong Master. Only Peng Gong Master was a bit farther as he fought Dream Demon Ancestor. In Demon Ancestor Secret Region, a giant, sawtooth-shelled strange beast remained in space. Its body was still, as if it was sleeping. Space and time were twisted around him. Dream T is calling for help? The sawtooth-shelled beast suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were gleaming. He teleported to his God Country, and through God Country transportation, he headed toward the destination. Luo Feng completely ignored Dream Demon Ancestor, who couldn't touch him in short time. He waved his Blood Shadow Blade again. It was breathtaking. The blade of light shone, starting with a slight trace. It grew thicker, covering the sky and land, forming a giant, black miniature universe and covering all the universe masters completely. Then the black miniature universe cracked, and a thin yet shining golden light flashed. Thin space cracks appeared in the sky, and they cut the space fragments within them. Luo Feng transmitted his voice. "Darkness, get them." Darkness Master looked up to the sky. "I've been waiting for this moment." When the dark miniature universe dissipated, the universe masters started to prepare for a fight, especially with the two top-tier 5th-level universe masters resisting it. They all survived the disaster. Though they were injured severely, they all survived the terrific blade attacks. However, before they could feel a sense of relief, a giant black pyramid showed up above them. "Get in." Darkness Master controlled that floating black prison tower. The 16 godly bodies of the 12 universe masters started to encircle the universe masters from the demon race. They all panicked, as the swallowing power of the supreme true treasure was too strong. A pinnacle true treasure was already enough to swallow Yuan Ao Master, forcing him to self-destruct. However, the supreme true treasure was doing the job. The universe masters from the demon race were already severely injured, and under the pressure from Golden Country and Snow Sand Ocean, many of them didn't even have 1/10 of their power anymore. They only had 50% of their godly bodies left. More than 3 of them didn't even have half their godly bodies left. Get into the palace-type true treasure. Hide. Resist. Let's go. Under the soul attacks and illusion attacks, universe masters from the demon race whose power was weakened completely panicked. They were trapped in illusions and couldn't even break out of them. 3 of the 11 demon race universe masters entered the palace-type true treasure brought by Forbidden Master. However, not everyone could do the same thing under such chaos. 2 universe masters were sucked into Black Prison Tower. No. Stop them. Stop them. The universe masters who were stronger tried to stop it, but another blade of light shone at this time. No, roared some of the demon race's universe masters. Dream Demon Ancestor, who saw this scene, was also furious. She yelled. They had come for the humans, seeking to catch some universe masters and to force them to give up the inheritance, yet one of their universe masters had died while 2 were caught before they could capture any human universe masters. Human! Dream Demon Ancestor cried. Sky Wolf Master, Mohu Master. Luo Feng smiled as he whispered these 2 names. They were the 2 who had been sucked into Black Prison Tower. Within Black Prison Tower, amidst the quiet space that was filled with black haze, 2 figures were rapidly sucked in. One was a tumbling sky wolf, and the other was an ink scepter beast, a 3-tailed beast that was covered in scales and had 3 horns on its head. One was Sky Wolf Master, the other was Ink Scepter Master. Both of them were truly ancestral figures among the demons, yet at that moment, both were imprisoned. Not good. Sky Wolf Master blinked. Just a moment ago, it had awoken from its illusion to give a sudden shout of objection. Ink Scepter Master, who was by its side, was also frantic. Sky Wolf, what should we do? We have been imprisoned in that supreme true treasure Black Prison Tower. Ink Scepter Master was panicking. Black Prison Tower, Sky Wolf Master looked around anxiously. The space ripples in here were totally cut off from the outside world. Teleportation? God country transportation? No. There was no way they could escape. I don't have any other bodies, Skywolf Master said, on edge. Done. This was truly a nightmare. It was needless to mention that for a Universe Supreme Master to be imprisoned in this Supreme True Treasure Palace, there would be simply no chance for escape. If the two of them had other bodies, then there would be nothing much to fret over. Yet neither Skywolf Master nor Ink Scepter Master were highly ranked Demon Universe Masters. Neither had any other bodies. If they did, then their status would naturally have been different. Even if they were suppressed within a Supreme True Treasure Palace with other bodies elsewhere, they could have simply self-destructed right away. That way, even if they lost their precious true treasures in the process of self-destruction, at least they could have ensured their survival. Wait! Skywolf Master shouted. We will wait for our chance. Dream Demon Ancestor is still out there. We still have a chance. I believe that Shock Demon Ancestor will rush over soon. By that time, our ancestors just have to snatch this black prison tower away from the humans. Then we can get out of here. Right. Ink Scepter Master was at his wit's end. There was only this way out now. Dream Demon Ancestor and Shock Demon Ancestor will surely come to our rescue. No. Loathsome. Just as the Demon Universe Masters were howling and Dream Demon Ancestor, who had rushed over at such a transcendent speed of flight, was roaring with rage, their enemy, the humans, were, on the contrary, exhilarated. Pengong Master, Darkness Master, Luo Feng, and a large group of Universe Masters were all smiles, and they were so happy that their heartfelt joy was second to none. The basic target has been achieved. Pengong Master exclaimed excitedly when they were back within the virtual universe. We have exterminated one Universe Master, caught two Universe Masters, Skywolf Master and Ink Scepter Master, who are mere nobodies among the demons, so they are unable to escape no matter how they try. It takes such a long time for a rare occurrence of a Universe Master's annihilation, yet today, the demons lost 3 to us in an instant. If news gets out, those minor groups whose powers do not match up to the demons will naturally be scared out of their wits. We are able to cause the demons to lose 3 Universe Masters before their most powerful great being, Dream Demon Ancestor, so when it comes to dealing with those minor groups, exterminating them in one swift move should be a piece of cake. That's right. Our basic target has been achieved. Now, we can kill and capture as we please. The more we kill or capture, the more effectively it will work out for us. Luo Feng, Pengong, and Darkness were all very excited. The human race had Black Prison Tower and Yang Jun Rod. On top of these, they also had Luo Feng's treasure. This enabled the entire race to have 3 6th-tier Universe Masters. Even though they might lose out in terms of speed, in the overall battle, or at least when facing the demons 1-to-1, they still had an edge over the demons. But Luo Feng and the rest were aware that the inheritance of the Pulse of Duandong River was destined to attract various powers. The human race would have to face not only the demons but many other groups, which was why they were under extreme pressure. If Dream Demon Ancestor alone could be so scary, what if there were 3 such figures approaching them? Or 5 Universe Supreme Masters? Most likely, one joint attack would sweep them away. Who knew? Maybe even Pengong Master would be sealed and suppressed. Regardless of the final outcome of this war, Luo Feng thought silently, from the very beginning, we will give our best in fighting the demons. Not only is this the first battle, but it is the battle of deterrence. We must unleash our best to deter the other powers from attacking. We have to let them think that there is possible danger behind them. If the humans seemed weak on the outside, the other groups would worry that the humans would be quickly defeated and would go under. Then it would be too late for them to reap any benefits, so they would all surge forward for the kill. But if the humans appeared to be terrifying, those groups would, firstly, be unwilling to pay such a hefty price and, secondly, not be worried that the human race would be completely defeated by the demons, the automaton race, and the bug clan. Instinctively, they would just watch the show from the sidewalk. So long as the human race was given the chance for a breather, everything was possible. After all, as Luo Feng had explained to the other Universe Masters earlier on, this concerned all Universe Masters and Universe Supreme Masters. There was a possibility that at the critical moment, Darkness Master, Pengong Master, and Primal Chaos City Leader might just achieve a breakthrough. Once there was a breakthrough, the human race would have a greater chance. If I were to achieve a breakthrough from a Universe Master, the situation would be greatly different, Luo Feng said silently to himself. Now, only my original Earthling body and Golden Horned Beast body have extremely strong combat power. The moment I achieve a breakthrough from a Universe Master, Mosha body and Remote Ocean body will all possess the 6th-tiered combat power. By then, the situation for the human race will be greatly improved. 6th tier was the top. In the original universe, it was the strongest combat power possible. Reaching the level of 6th tier was difficult. It usually required a 5th-tier top Universe Master with a supreme true treasure to achieve this top level. The human race only had a total of 3 5th-tier top Universe Masters, Darkness, Pengong, and Primal Chaos City Leader, so even if there were 2 to 3 more supreme true treasures for the other Universe Masters like Ice Mountain Master and Longyang Master, they would not be able to unleash the power that a 6th-tier top Universe Master could. Luo Feng had been lacking in his lore comprehension earlier on, so even though he had Star Tower, he could still only unleash an extremely small portion of its power. Great Being and True Treasure had to come in a pair. This was the only way to achieve the 6th-tier combat power. Luo Feng was different. He had created Nirvana Renaissance, which was a secret technique at the level of a Universe Supreme Master, so even without a Supreme True Treasure, he would still be able to unleash combat power that was at the level of a 6th-tier top Universe Master. Dream Demon Ancestor is charging this way. That old fellow. The human race spotted Dream Demon Ancestor, who was charging toward them at an extremely crazy speed. I will stop him, Luo Feng said. Pengong and Darkness, both of you can continue dealing with that group of Demons Universe Masters. Try hard to apprehend a few more. All right. All right. Pengong and Darkness had seen Luo Feng's ability earlier on. They had the utmost confidence in him. Behind Luo Feng, the 4 silver wings suddenly expanded. Then, mightily, as though they could cover half of the entire starlit sky, they brought Luo Feng up into midair where he was suspended with Blood Ghost Blade in his grip. His eyes were fixated on Dream Demon Ancestor, who was charging over at an extremely fast rate with murderous intention. At that moment, Dream Demon Ancestor was behaving like a lunatic, letting out piercing screams of rage. Luo Feng. Go? With a move of his mind. A gigantic boat of Mausoleum appeared in midair and collided head-on with Dream Demon Ancestor, who was charging over at top speed and had no intention of slowing down at all. Because the boat of Mausoleum had just been taken out, its internal engine was just starting to churn and retreated a little upon the impact of the collision. Right away, Luo Feng waved and retrieved the boat of Mausoleum. Loathsome humans. Dream Demon Ancestor was still crazily in pursuit after the collision. It was simply too furious. Dream Demon Ancestor's snake head opened its mouth wide. A cyan-colored shadow flashed past the length of the sky and skimmed toward Luo Feng. In an instant, Luo Feng waved Blood Ghost Blade firmly in his grip, and a thin blade ray was formed. It grew in size, and eventually, a large, black miniature universe was formed over that cyan shadow. The miniature universe split open. Streams of blade rays appeared in thin flashes to disappear the next moment. The cyan shadow, on the other hand, flew as fast as it could back into Dream Demon Ancestor's widely opened mouth. The two merely exchanged blows once. Dream Demon Ancestor kept his eyes on Luo Feng. What an impressive blade technique. A supreme true treasure, I suppose? Dream Demon Ancestor was deep in thought, devising a way to deal with Luo Feng. It realized that Luo Feng's blade ray had an extremely terrifying penetrating power. If the defining characteristic of Yang Jun Rod's power could be described as massive, then Luo Feng's blade's defining characteristic could be described as sharp. It was indescribably sharp. The 4 wings at Luo Feng's back spread out as he looked at Dream Demon Ancestor. 6th tier was the top. It was, indeed, the limit as to how much power could be released within this original universe. My execution of Nirvana Renaissance has started to vaguely feel some obstruction, Luo Feng said discreetly to himself. I had not expected this so-called limit of the 6th tier to not exert its influence not only over Universe Supreme Masters, but also over Universe Knights and Universe Masters. Prior to this, within the entire original universe, there was not a single 6th-tier Universe Master. Even if there was a Supreme True Treasure, it would be owned by a Universe Supreme Master. At that moment, Luo Feng, Darkness and Pengong were all of the 6th-tier standard, and even so, they could still feel that layer of obstruction. Yes. This imposed restriction is the suppression exerted by the willpower of the original universe over Universe Supreme Masters, so that they were unable to achieve massive and mindless massacres, Luo Feng whispered to himself. But it was not so strong as to be able to make these Universe Supreme Masters weaker than Universe Masters. This is why, even for Universe Masters, the greatest power they could unleash was only to the limit of the 6th tier as the top. Previously, there were many rumors but no truths to back them up. Luo Feng, Darkness, and Peng Gong had all become 6th tier as the top universe masters, so they could clearly detect it. No way there could be a breakthrough, because once they got near, the obstruction they felt was far too great. Theoretically, for a true universe master, the 6th tier is the limit, Luo Feng said to himself. This is the case in the original universe, which is, in fact, considered quite an achievement. But I am different from them, which is why I am always at a loss. Generations of reincarnation eras. Finally, there was a unique existence like Luo Feng, who had received the inheritance of the pulse of Du and Dawn River. Because he had Blood Ghost Blade. With Blood Ghost Blade, his power was elevated by 1 level. Extermination, created by 3 generations of ancestors. Once executed, his power would increase even more. So, if there was no obstruction, Luo Feng would now have really given his all, used extermination, and unleashed a 7th tier combat power within the universe ocean. It was the power of an ordinary universe supreme master. If he was able to reach the level of a universe master, then he would be able to unleash an 8th tier combat power. What a pity that the original universe might be able to suppress the universe supreme masters. But they were unable to suppress them to the extent that they would lose out against universe masters. After all, within Universe Ocean, Dream Demon Ancestor's combat power was close to the 8th tier standard, whereas the maximum within the original universe was limited to 6th tier combat power. Human, you loathsome fellow! Dream Demon Ancestor roared. If this was Universe Ocean, do you think you would be my match? With his hand grasping Blood Ghost Blade, Luo Feng gave a cold laugh and said, that was what virtual real devil god once said to double-face ancestral god. What a pity, indeed, that this is the original universe we are in. Luo Feng and Dream Demon Ancestor had only just started to exchange blows when, far into the distance, where the Demon Universe Masters were besieged, there was a sudden outburst of terrifying power. From within that palace supreme true treasure beside Prohibition Master, a beast with a serrated shell over its body was suddenly seen slowly crawling out of that palace true treasure. Right away, the Demon Universe Masters shouted in excitement, "Shock Demon Ancestor!" The Universe Masters were all thrilled to see Shock Demon Ancestor show up. Demon Ancestor! Demon Ancestor! They all shouted and tried to resist the attacks from the human race. They were in agony. One of them had died because of Luo Feng's move, which drove them back to the original universe. Yet in the original universe, they were too far from Dream Demon Ancestor. Shock Demon Ancestor moved slowly and glanced at the humans. At the same time, its body started to show an enormous amount of godly power and formed small, strange beasts. These strange beasts roared and resisted the attacks from the humans. Tumbling waves showed up in the sky, which came from a pinnacle domain-type true treasure, Mo Water River. However, they were immediately shattered by Golden Country and Snow Sand Ocean. Shock Demon Ancestor looked into the distance. In the distance, a giant silver wing covered half of the sky, and its owner was that young human man. The young man glanced at Shock Demon Ancestor. Shock Demon Ancestor, he said, this is my place. If you don't have a domain-type supreme true treasure, don't even bother. Luo Feng. Shock Demon Ancestor stayed there while the Universe Masters who were severely injured fled into the Palace-type true treasures. They hadn't dared to flee before, as they feared that the Pinnacle Palace-type true treasure would be sucked into Black Prison Tower. However, Shock Demon Ancestor had now appeared, so they could simply enter the palace and recover first. After all, they had all prepared some precious valuables to cope with the dangers for this war, and they could recover their bodies in a short time. I thought you lost your wing, Luo Feng. Shock Demon Ancestor gazed at Luo Feng. Luo Feng smirked. I got it back. Naturally. A human who got the inheritance of Du and Dawn River must be incredible. Shock Demon Ancestor looked relaxed, yet he was observing the situation. Regardless of the circumstances, the Universe Masters had hidden themselves while he and Dream Demon Ancestor were safe. But suddenly, Shock Demon Ancestor was shocked. Supreme True Treasure, Black Prison Tower? And the manipulator is Darkness Master? Darkness Master is a human? Darkness Master, Peng Gong Master, and Luo Feng, all of them had powers at top tier level 6, which was the maximum power in the original universe. I have my wing, so I'm in control of the domain. Are you disappointed? Luo Feng stood in space, and his voice was transmitted throughout the domain. Peng Gong, Darkness, let's fight together and let that old guy Shockhorn know our power. Ha ha, okay. Kill. Pengong rushed forward while Darkness Master controlled Black Prison Tower, whose power surged and turned into gleaming white light, striking at Shock Demon Ancestor. Kill. Kill that old Demon Ancestor. Crush his shell. The 12 Universe Masters attacked at the same time. Dream Demon Ancestor was infuriated after seeing Shock Demon Ancestor being attacked by humans so relentlessly. Although it was easy for Shock Demon Ancestor to resist the attacks, he could only wield power at top tier level 6, so he was actually being bullied. Damn humans! Dream Demon Ancestor roared and sped up. She wanted to get around Luo Feng, and she was too fast for Luo Feng to stop her. The giant silver wing suddenly shook and turned into a huge blade of light, sweeping across space and time and turned into a black miniature universe, covering Dream Demon Ancestor. Suddenly, the black miniature universe exploded. A giant silver snake burst easily out of the miniature universe. Do you think you can stop me without a supreme true treasure? Dream Demon Ancestor glared coldly at Luo Feng, then turned into a phantom and rushed toward Shock Demon Ancestor. I don't have enough godly power. Luo Feng shook his head. I was using the blade technique of a Universe Supreme Master. Shawu Wing is slightly weaker, so I can only use the power at top tier level 5. Luo Feng shook his wing and flew toward the two ancestors. Shock Demon Ancestor and Dream Demon Ancestor gathered. The giant silver snake and the sawtooth-shelled strange beast remained in the area. They could defend themselves against all the attacks from the humans. Their defense power is too strong. Dream Demon Ancestor has a supreme true treasure armor. As for that Shock Demon Ancestor, although he doesn't have a supreme true treasure armor, is naturally good at defense, especially in the original universe. He can defend himself easily without any supreme true treasures. The humans immediately realized the problem. No matter how they hit the two ancestors, they couldn't injure them. However, if they wanted to escape, they could certainly achieve that, given their speed. Inside the virtual universe, in front of huge Axe Godly Palace. What should we do? Both of those demon ancestors are Universe Supreme Masters, so we can't do anything to them. I think we should retreat. We've already achieved our goal of killing a Universe Master and catching 2 Universe Masters. They suffered a great loss, and when the news spreads, those inferior powers will be intimidated. The Prison Race, the Crystal Race, and the Lone Universe Supreme Masters won't rush to attack us again. Retreat? The Universe Masters sat beside the bench and voiced their opinions. Boat of Mausoleum, said Luo Feng suddenly. Everyone turned silent. Are you sure you want to use that, Luo Feng? Pengong Master asked. Pengong Master was hesitant. So was Darkness Master. The other Universe Masters were confused, as they didn't know what Luo Feng meant by saying, Boat of Mausoleum. They all knew that Boat of Mausoleum was a ship without any weapons to attack the outside. Only after the enemies entered Boat of Mausoleum would they know that the attack techniques equipped. However, everyone in Universe Ocean knew how terrifying it was, so nobody would enter it. Luo Feng? Ice Mountain Master asked. Luo Feng has a trump card, said Darkness Master. You'll find out later, brother. Do you really think it's time to perform it now, Luo Feng? Don't you want to wait until next time? I can perform it again next time, said Luo Feng. After all, the demon race will suffer a great loss. They won't tell the automaton race or the bug race about this trump card. They will want others to suffer losses as well. Okay. Okay. Darkness Master and Pengong Master both nodded. What should we do? Asked Pengong Master. The Universe Masters from the demon race are hiding in that Pinnacle Palace type true treasure. We'll lure them out, said Luo Feng. Darkness Master and Pengong Master exchanged eye contact. Listen, said Darkness Master. When we're fighting. Just when the great beings had slight traces of their minds communicating with each other in the virtual universe, Dream Demon Ancestor and Shock Demon Ancestor started to make serious attacks after a short conversation. Go? Shock Demon Ancestor growled. All of a sudden, a giant black cone showed up. It was the supreme true treasure of Shock Demon Ancestor. It looked like the tip of Shock Demon Ancestor. Normally, that cone was merged with the tip of the tail so that it could be used as armor for protection. Shock Demon Ancestor was skilled in close combat. Now, he used that cone as a spiritual force weapon for even quicker combat. Crushed Domain Cone formed a storm made by crushed space fragments. It was extremely quick. Crushed Domain Cone hit Black Prison Tower. Black Prison Tower rolled back while Crush Domain Cone continued toward Pengong Master after neutralizing the shock wave. Suddenly, Dream Demon Ancestor opened his mouth. Damn human! A green phantom flew out and charged toward Pengong Master. Stop it! Stop that Crush Domain Cone! The Universe Masters from the human race hit Crush Domain Cone at the same time. However, the cone and the green phantom still flew toward Pengong Master as if there were no resistance. Pengong Master bounced away regardless of his resistance. Annihilate! One green phantom and one black storm, they swept toward the 12 human Universe Masters and Darkness Master. Darkness Master drove Black Prison Tower and flew toward them. Black Prison Tower resisted the green phantom, but the black storm formed by Crush Domain Cone swept across the human Universe Masters. Stop them! Father! They were all trying to protect themselves. Fortunately, the 17 Universe Masters were all making attacks and resisted the power of the green phantom. Only Ice Mountain Master at the front was injured. The green phantom stopped. It was a green shuttle. Back! Go! Retreat! At the side of the Black Pyramid, the Universe Masters all flew into Black Prison Tower, as did Darkness Master. The Black Pyramid, Pengong Master, and Luo Feng started to flee like 3 streaks of light. This video will end here.